And the judge calling him a high risk to the community after that horrible shooting in Katy on Thursday. Deputies responded to that shooting at a home on Roaring Oaks. When they got there, they found a woman from a gunshot wound.
All the kids and everybody came running out of the house screaming. And I got off the phone. I was on the phone, and when I got off the call 911, that's when I heard multiple more shots. And then we went outside, and one of the victims was laying like in my driveway area in the front.
As of October 2024, it has been 3 long years since a horrifying family shooting rampage took place in Katy, Texas, and it left multiple people hurt and 1 unalive. Since that time, the family has been fighting for justice for their loved one, and it all finally came to an end on October 3rd, 2024. A man will never see the light of day again after he tried to take his whole family out because his wife was ready to move on. This is the sad story of 36-year-old Valerie Junius Reed, a mother of 6 whose life took a frightening turn one fateful evening. In a desperate act to try and control his wife, 53-year-old Lawrence Reed unleashed a hail of bullets, leaving Valerie mortally wounded and her children traumatized. This tragic crime will leave a family forever changed and one peaceful community in total shock.
She's in a place where she has her wings, Father God.
There were prayers. Balloon release followed by tears. Raw emotion from a family mourning Valerie Junius, a mother of 6, who family members say was always smiling.
My cousin was such a sweet person. She was a happy person. She was a joyful person all the time. There was periods of times when my cousin was happy with this man. But there was a lot of times when my cousin was not happy with this man. I urge you, if you have family that are in unhappy relationships, if you have friends that are in unhappy relationships, to stand by them, to talk to them, to check on them.
At the end of July 2021, a then 36-year-old Valerie Reed and her kids had just returned from their hometown of Chicago after being away from their home in Texas for about a month. It was said that during the time in her life, she had been going through some troubling times with her husband, a now 56-year-old Lawrence Reed. Lawrence, who went by Law, was about 17 years her senior, and the pair had been together around a decade or more. Both came into the relationship already parents and would end up having their first child together in September of 2012. Then after another 4 years, the couple will welcome their second son together. As a resident of Katy, Texas, which is just west of Houston, Valerie was described as a great mother who poured so much love into the well-being of her 6 children and her 1 grandchild. Her children were her purpose, and everything she accomplished in life was to make their world better. Like any good mother, she wanted to give her kids the best life possible and was so excited for their many milestones. Sadly, though, the love in her marriage began to fade at some point, and Valerie was said to appear unhappy. During the time before the night of July 29, 2021, Valerie was in the process of finding a way to leave her marriage for good, and there was no turning back. However, she never made it to that point because her unhinged husband would set up a plan in place to not only take her life, but apparently he wanted to take out his stepkids too. During the family trip to Chicago without Lawrence, he began sending strange texts and mentioning a gun to his estranged wife. So when the family got back to Texas, his words were enough of a concern to find and remove a .40 caliber gun from the home. The very next day and the day of the rampage, Lawrence was upstairs in their home and was texting Valerie, asking her to come upstairs and read a letter he wrote her. In spite of that, Valerie declined to go upstairs and continued doing what she was doing with her other children and 1-year-old grandchild. Because she did not come up, this is when Lawrence told his 8 and 4-year-old who were upstairs goodbye. I'm sure they just thought it was for that moment and would have never imagined the carnage their father would lay out. Lawrence then walked downstairs and decided to confront his wife. The conversation was said to be brief before he would pull a gun out of his pocket and begin shooting. His stepdaughter, who was 20 years old at the time and a mother herself to a 1-year-old, was shot in the chest. Valerie was shot too, but was able to run out the house, and at this point, the whole house was up in a panic. Some of the kids were able to run out the front door, and Valerie had ran out the back. Everything was tragically in complete chaos, and by this point, neighbors knew that something was terribly wrong. Lawrence ended up coming outside to locate his family and found his wife and his 16-year-old stepson hiding near a neighbor's car. He then shot the teen twice as he was holding onto his already wounded mother's arm and then proceeded to shoot her in the head. Neighbors came outside, called 911, and tried to help the family, even performing CPR on Valerie. However, Lawrence came back over again with a gun and kicked his wife in the head and told the neighbors that she was unalive. Another one of her teen sons also tried to help his mother, but Lawrence pointed the gun at him and told him to run away or face being shot as well. This whole situation makes my blood boil, and I can't even imagine the fear everyone was going through. From that point, the crime scene was in multiple locations, and the neighbors were trying to help the best way they could. As emergency officials were en route, Lawrence had went back into the home and told authorities if anyone tried to come in, he would shoot them. So now they had a hostage and barricade situation. Despite that, the 20-year-old stepdaughter was still alive, fighting for her life. She was hiding in the closet with her 1-year-old baby on the phone with 911. The bullet to the chest had hit her heart, both her lungs, and her liver, authorities will reveal. The 20-year-old and her daughter were hiding in the closet for approximately 49 minutes before officers were able to sneak her and the baby out of the house somehow. She was taken to the hospital and she had to get emergency surgery to save her life. The fact that she seemed to have a fatal wound to her heart and survived is nothing but a blessing. Then on top of that, she had to wait for so long for help. Eventually that night, authorities were able to get Lawrence to surrender and he was put behind bars. In his first initial arraignment, he was given a bond of nearly $3 million, but remained behind bars. It was later determined that he had planned on taking everyone out, but ran out of bullets and could not find the other gun that the family had hid just before all of this had taken place. A house literally full of women and children, and he decided to do something so unbelievable, so unthinkable. A real-life horror movie. Plus, Valerie's mother was said to be on the phone with her daughter the whole time, so she heard all the horror unfolding in real time, and I'm sure she wanted to jump through the phone. No mother should ever experience such a loss, and no child should see their mother get gunned down. Truly breaks my heart for the entire family, and Valerie should still be here. She was so young and vibrant and had so much to live for, but now she is forever 36 years young. Over the 3 years as the family was waiting on the justice, they received another devastating blow when one of Valerie's brothers was shot and lost his life in Chicago on September 14, 2023. No family deserves all that pain. As the family pushed through, they found solace knowing that the brother and sister were together again. But the better outcome would be for both of them to be together on this side of earth. Another year and some change would pass before Lawrence's day in court would come. And on October 3rd, 2024, he was convicted by a jury for the unaliving and sentenced to life in prison. He was also convicted of 2 counts of bodily harm of a family member for shooting 2 others during the incident. He was sentenced to 20 years for both of those cases, the maximum punishment. This was a great victory for her kids and loved ones, especially the 2 kids that survived to tell the story. The children have continued to honor their mother in many ways, and the love she gave is evident in all the many lives she touched. I am so glad that loved ones can finally try and heal and move forward, with her forever alive in their hearts. My thoughts and prayers are with all of Valerie's loved ones, and the same for her brother, who should still be here too. So please don't forget to comment your thoughts and prayers for this family in their difficult time, and hit that like button and share to make your people aware. And as always, remember to stay woke. Things change quickly.